the sign that will change Sagittarius's destiny in 2026. Sagittarius, you need to stop running now. Because what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes will explain why you can't commit, why you always need an exit door, why every time something gets too deep, you invent a new adventure to escape. Someone is coming your way. And this time, it's not someone you'll manage to leave behind. Not someone you'll turn into just another interesting story. Not someone you'll keep on the surface. It's someone who will tie you down, really tie you down. For the first time in your life, and no, it's not who you're thinking. It's not that free spirit like you. It's not the sign everyone says understands you. It's nothing you can control with your optimism. It's the sign the universe chose to show you what real commitment is. To force you to stay when everything in you wants to flee. To teach you that not everything in life is about freedom without consequences. Did you think 2026 would be another year of adventures? Of superficial experiences? Of meeting new people without really getting involved? Forget all that. 2026 doesn't want your irresponsible freedom. 2026 wants your depth. And this sign that's about to enter your life will ensure you finally stop running and start building something real, lasting, meaningful. Stay with me until the end, because what's coming isn't just about an encounter. It's about a transformation so deep you'll question everything you believed about freedom, commitment, and the true meaning of being alive. And before you think about closing this video and returning to your optimistic distractions, know that Sagittarius always runs when it gets intense. But this time the universe created a situation you can't escape. That restlessness you feel, that emptiness no trip fills, that loneliness you disguise with philosophy and good humor. It's not wanderlust, it's deep emotional neediness, and 2026 will expose it. I am the voice that translates what the stars whisper. And today, Sagittarius, you'll discover who is truly destined to make you stop running and finally face what it means to build something deep. If you're a Sagittarius or love someone of this sign, this isn't optional. It's a revelation that will change how you see relationships and commitment. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and leave your like now, because the next videos will complete this cosmic puzzle that begins today, and you won't want to miss a single piece. Take a deep breath, Sagittarius, because now the universe will reveal what you've been avoiding facing. 2026 arrives for Sagittarius like an anchor. You who always flew free, who always had feet on the ground just enough to be able to leave again, will discover what it's like to have roots. You'll feel changes that challenge your very essence, situations that will force you to choose between your sacred freedom and something that truly matters, moments that will force you to stay when every instinct screams for you to run. And you hate this because for you, staying always seemed like prison. Unexpected tests that will challenge your capacity to build something lasting. Encounters that will question your fear of deep intimacy. And revelations. Revelations that will show you you're not as free as you think. You're just good at running. And it's precisely when you think you've found the next exit door that this sign appears. Like a gravitational force you can't escape. Like an intensity that doesn't accept your philosophies about freedom. This sign doesn't play your game, Sagittarius. It doesn't accept your stories about needing space. It doesn't buy your excuse that commitment limits growth. On the surface, you're completely incompatible. Everyone would say it makes no sense, that you're too free and they're too intense, that it will never work. But your soul already knew this encounter was necessary. And when the soul knows, Sagittarius, it doesn't matter how many borders you cross to flee. It doesn't matter how many philosophies you invent to justify escape. It doesn't matter how many adventures you use as distraction. The universe placed this encounter in your timeline for a very specific reason. A reason that will become clear as we move forward. But before revealing who it is, you need to understand what's happening in the invisible backstage of your destiny. Because this time, Sagittarius, running won't work. And that terrifies you more than anything else. Before the sign appears, 3 cosmic movements begin to manifest in Sagittarius's life in 2026. The ancients called these the doors of destiny. And each one opens in a way that even you, with all your optimistic vision, can't ignore. These doors don't respect your need for freedom. They don't wait for you to be prepared for commitment. They simply open when the universe decides it's time for you to stop running. And Sagittarius, your time has arrived. The first door has already started to open. You might not have noticed because you're too busy planning the next adventure, but your soul is already feeling the weight. And when Sagittarius's soul feels weight, something important is happening. Come with me and I'll reveal each of these doors. The first door that opens in 2026 is the most challenging for you. It's the door of rooting. This door touches what you avoid most: remaining, building, creating deep emotional roots in a place, a person, a commitment. In 2026, Sagittarius, you'll be forced to stay. Not just physically, but emotionally. That technique of yours of being present but with one foot out the door won't work anymore. Those philosophical excuses you always use to justify why you can't commit will sound empty even to yourself. That belief that freedom is everything will be tested when you realize freedom without depth is just disguised loneliness. People around you will start demanding more. That ability you have to make everyone laugh while maintaining emotional distance will be questioned. And in its place, something new and scary begins to emerge. Something you've always avoided. The need to build something lasting, to create roots, to truly commit without planned escape routes. This door brings situations where you can't simply leave when it gets difficult. Relationships that demand constant presence, not just sporadic visits between adventures. Moments where you need to choose to stay above your sacred freedom. And at the center of this transformation is the decisive arrival. The arrival of that sign that doesn't accept half presences, that isn't satisfied with your vague promises of someday. They don't come like all the others who accepted your conditions. They come as a demand that you finally create roots. The second door is even more intense. It's the door of emotional depth. This door is brutal for Sagittarius because you live on the surface. You keep everything light. You transform even pain into jokes and personal growth. But in 2026, this door forces you to do what you fear most: dive deep. Dive into intense emotions without being able to philosophize them. Feel real pain without being able to immediately transform it into learning. Face your shadows without being able to escape to the next experience. Your destiny in 2026 demands depth. Demands you stop using your philosophy as an emotional shield. Demands you really feel, without trying to already understand or grow from it. And know who will teach you this: the sign that's coming. They are the deep dive. They are the force that pulls you down from the superficial waters where you've always swum and takes you to the deep ocean where you've never dared go. With them, you learn not everything can be light, that some things need to be lived with total intensity, that you can be free and still deeply committed. Without them, you'd continue surfing life's surface. With them, you finally discover what's in the depths. Now comes the third door, the most transformative of all for you. It's the door of surrender. Sagittarius, you love the idea of freedom. You pride yourself on not needing anyone. You transformed your inability to commit into a lifestyle. But when it's time to truly surrender to something bigger than you, you flee. You invent a philosophy about individual growth. You choose the next adventure. In 2026, you won't have that option anymore. This door brings situations where you need to surrender. Not to prison, but to deep love. Not to limitation, but to real commitment. Not to dependence, but to healthy interdependence. And for you, who's always had a visceral fear of losing your freedom, this is terrifying. This door brings signs you can't ignore, no matter how much your optimistic mind tries. Synchronicities that repeat whenever you think about fleeing. Situations that force you to face that you don't really want to leave. Moments where you realize what you call freedom is just fear of getting hurt. Dreams where you finally find a home. Not a physical place, but an emotional home in someone. And you wake up feeling longing for something you don't even have yet. Sensations that this person who's coming will completely change your life plans. And for the first time, you don't want to run from it. You want to stay and see what happens. This door announces the approach of that sign. And when it opens completely, you understand a truth you've always denied. Running scared. And now, for the first time in your life, you'll have to accept this, not philosophically, but feeling it deeply in real practice. The three doors are open now. Sagittarius, the door of rooting. the door of emotional depth, the door of surrender. And they won't close until you cross through all of them, until you stop running, until you accept you need something beyond adventures, until you allow yourself to build something real with someone. Because on the other side of these doors is the sign that will turn your world upside down. And they're not coming to be just another interesting story in your journey. They're coming to be the journey. Now pay attention, Sagittarius. Because what I'm about to reveal here might be happening to you right now, even if you're trying to ignore it with your optimistic philosophy. The sign that will change your destiny doesn't appear without warning. And you, who've always trusted your adventurous intuition, should be feeling this. But this time is different. This time the signs aren't about freedom. They're about staying. And you don't know how to deal with signs about permanence. Before this sign physically enters your life, they send gravitational waves, signs that most ignore, but that are pulling you back to Earth in ways you can't philosophize away. And these signs follow 3 very specific phases. 3 waves that become increasingly intense until you can no longer deny something is anchoring you. Let me show you each one. And pay attention. Because if you recognize these signs, it means it's already too late to run. The first phase is something completely new for you. It's the restlessness of remaining. You wake up and for the first time don't want to travel, don't want to explore, don't want to leave. And this scares you deeply. You look at your life of adventures and feel an emptiness no new experience seems capable of filling. A loneliness you've always disguised with optimism and philosophy. And this confuses you because you always thought you were complete alone, that you didn't need anyone deeply, that freedom was enough. But suddenly you start feeling something different. A desire to build something permanent, a wish to have roots, a perception that maybe you're tired of running. You become more restless, but not for adventure, for lack of something solid, for absence of someone who really knows you beyond the fun stories you tell. Small things start weighing on you. Seeing couples building something together makes you feel something strange. Not envy, but a question. What if I stopped running? Sagittarius, this isn't weakness. This is emotional maturity knocking at the door. It's the energy of this sign beginning to create gravity around you. It's as if their soul is already pulling you back to Earth, even though you haven't met yet. This restlessness doesn't pass with the next trip. It only increases. It grows like a need you can no longer deny with forced optimism, until you enter the second phase. The second phase is the call home. Suddenly, you start noticing this sign everywhere. And yes, you'll try to rationalize this as coincidence, but it's more than that. People of this sign start appearing in your life, in unexpected places, in conversations that affect you, in situations that make you question your life philosophy. You begin to be curious about emotional depth. You, who always avoided intensity, suddenly want to understand what it means to really dive deep. You dream about stability, about having an emotional place to return to. And in dreams, you feel this sign's energy calling you home. You see stories about this sign. Read about the emotional intensity they bring. Hear songs that speak about commitment and depth in ways that never touched you before. As if the universe is shouting, "Stop running, Sagittarius. They're coming." And this time you won't want to flee. And the most disturbing part is you start feeling something you've always avoided, fear of being alone. Not philosophically, but emotionally. Real fear that your freedom is just a well-decorated prison. It's as if something inside you already knows this energy will be definitive, that it will be transformative, that it will show you what you lost running your whole life. And then comes the third phase, the most intense of all. The third phase is the emotional anchor. In this phase, they're so energetically close you can no longer distract yourself, can no longer escape to the next adventure, can no longer use philosophy as a shield. You start having thoughts about staying that you don't control. And for you, Sagittarius, who always controlled when to leave, this is desperate. Thoughts coming from nowhere in the middle of your activities. Images of building something lasting. Sensations that you've finally found someone worth stopping for. You feel an attraction that isn't just philosophical or physical. It's gravitational. It's as if something is pulling you to stay. As if you're attracted by a force that defies your entire philosophy of freedom. As if there's an emotional magnet anchoring you to something you've always avoided. And when you finally meet someone of this sign, or when this person truly enters your life, something inside you stops. Not physical movement, but the internal running. That constant escape finally ceases. You simply know. Can't philosophize about it. Can't turn it into another story. You just feel it in your soul. This is no longer a person you can leave behind promising to return. This is the sign. This is destiny saying, it's time to create roots, and now, Sagittarius. Before I reveal who this sign is, I need you to do something. If so far you felt this video is touching on something you've been avoiding with your adventures, if you've recognized these signs, if something inside you stopped while I was speaking, leave a like on this video now. Because this like isn't just a gesture. It's you acknowledging to the universe, I know I'm running. I'm ready to stop. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now. Because tomorrow I'll start another sign, and you'll want to follow every revelation. Also, comment below, I allow myself to create roots. It doesn't matter if part of you still resists. It doesn't matter if your free mind is trying to deny it. If something inside you vibrated with these words, comment. Let the universe know you're ready. Now let's get to what really matters. You already know the 3 doors. You already know the 3 phases of approach. Now it's time to understand the collision that's about to happen. Because when this sign finally enters your life, Sagittarius, it's not light. It's not fun. It's not just another interesting adventure. It's a deep emotional storm. It's a force that anchors you even when you want to fly. And when this happens, either you finally learn to have roots, or you spend the rest of your life running from something your soul always wanted. And that's exactly why the universe prepared you with these doors and these signs. Because without this preparation, without this gradual awakening, the impact would be too devastating, even for you, who pride yourself on being adventurous and free. But now you're conscious. Now you're being called back. And now you're about to discover who it is. To understand who the sign is that will change your destiny, you first need to understand something fundamental about yourself, Sagittarius. You are fire, but not fire that warms and illuminates. You are fire that passes through. You are the flame that never stops. You are the bonfire that burns bright but never in the same place. You are expansion. You are movement. You are the horizon always moving away. That's your essence. And there's nothing wrong with that. But here's the problem. You've been stuck in this movement for too long. You're too comfortable in escape, too secure in your inability to create roots. And 2026 arrives to end this illusion that constant movement is freedom. Because to transform Sagittarius, the universe doesn't choose energies you can leave behind, doesn't choose energies that respect your space, doesn't choose what's light and uncomplicated. The universe chooses your gravitational opposite, chooses what anchors you, chooses what forces you to dive into the depths instead of flying in the heights. And in 2026, 3 specific energetic forces begin to orbit around you. 3 energies that carry exactly what you need, even if it's the last thing you want to admit. The first energy is the one that forces you to dive deep. It's the energy that doesn't accept your philosophies about freedom, that isn't satisfied with superficial conversations about personal growth, that doesn't respect your need to keep everything light. This energy arrives and says, enough surface, enough running. Now you're going to feel everything with total intensity. It challenges you to go deep in a way you've never done before. Because with this energy, your jokes don't work. Your forced optimism fails. Your life philosophy becomes an obvious shield, and you hate it at first. Because you're used to keeping everything light, to transforming even pain into immediate learning, to never really diving because there's always the next adventure waiting. But this energy removes you from that comfortable place. And this scares you as much as it fascinates you. Because deep down, Sagittarius, you always wanted to find something so deep it was worth stopping running for. Something so intense it made sense to create roots. Someone who made you want to stay. And this energy is exactly that. The second energy is even more intense. It's the one that teaches you about real commitment. This energy touches something you've always avoided. the beauty of permanence, the power of building something lasting, the depth that only comes with time and constant presence. Sagittarius, you pride yourself on being free. You transformed your inability to commit into life philosophy. You convinced yourself that roots are prisons. But this energy shows you there's a difference between freedom and escape, between flying free and running scared, between exploring the world and running from yourself. This energy teaches you that you can be free and still committed, that you can explore the world with someone by your side, that roots aren't prisons. They're safe bases from which you can fly even higher. And yes, this is terrifying for you, because commitment means vulnerability, and vulnerability means possibility of deep pain, not just superficial experiences you can transform into learning. But this energy shows you there's beauty in this vulnerability. There's completeness in this commitment. There's real freedom in having an emotional place to return to. And when you allow this energy in, you discover a version of yourself you didn't know. A more complete version, deeper, more truly free. And now comes the third energy, the most transformative of all. It's the energy that connects you with your deep emotions. Sagittarius, you live in mind and movement. You philosophize about emotions, but rarely feel them with total intensity. You're always processing, understanding, growing instead of simply feeling. You transform pain into learning before even feeling it completely. You convert sadness into motivation for the next adventure. You never stop enough to really dive into what you're feeling, but this third energy arrives to change that, to force you to stop, to make you feel without processing, to show you not everything needs to be understood or transformed immediately. This isn't a mental energy. It's not philosophical. It's completely emotional and visceral. When this energy touches you, something changes in your essence. You finally understand that life isn't in the next adventure, the next experience, the next horizon. Life is here, now, in this deep feeling, in this real connection, in this person who makes you want to stop. And here's what you need to understand. These three energies don't come from different signs. They're not scattered around waiting for you to find them in different places. They concentrate in a single sign, a sign that carries all these forces at once. Absolute emotional depth, unquestionable commitment, intensity that can't be philosophized away. And that's why when this sign crosses your path, the impact is so devastating, because it's not just a person entering your life. It's a gravitational force pulling you back to Earth after years flying in the heights. It's free fire meeting deep water. It's constant movement meeting meaningful permanence. It's philosophy meeting pure emotion. And from this collision, something is born that completely transforms you. But before I reveal who it is, you need to understand an ancient prophecy, a prophecy that speaks directly about Sagittarius. It says, when the archer finally finds the target worth stopping shooting for, he will discover he was searching for it all along. Sagittarius, you shoot arrows in all directions. You explore all horizons. You seek all experiences. But you never really aim at something with the intention of staying. You shoot, hit, and already leave for the next target. But in 2026, you find a different target. Not because it's more interesting than the others, but because when you hit it for the first time in your life, you don't want to leave. This sign isn't just another target in your infinite journey. They are the final destination you always pretended you weren't looking for. And this completely destabilizes you. Because when you find something truly worth stopping for, all your philosophies about freedom become transparent. You realize you were running not because you loved freedom, but because you were afraid to stop. Your philosophical defenses don't work. Your justifications about personal growth don't make sense. And you're there, exposed, vulnerable, wanting to stay. And it's terrifying. But it's also liberating in a way you never imagined. This sign mentioned in the prophecy doesn't wait for you to decide if you're ready for commitment. They simply exist with a depth so profound you can't leave. They appear in your life with an emotional depth that absurdly contrasts with your philosophical lightness. And in that contrast, something magical and scary happens. You realize you can fly and have roots, that you can be free and committed, that you can explore the world and have an emotional home to return to. And when you realize this, Sagittarius, everything changes. That future you had planned of solitary adventures doesn't make sense anymore. Those philosophies you had about individual freedom need to be rewritten. That version of you that thought you didn't need anyone is evolving, because this sign doesn't come to limit your freedom. They come to show you that real freedom includes the choice to stay when it's worth it. And now, yes, Sagittarius, the time has come. After everything you've heard, after the doors, after the signs, after the energies, after the prophecy, it's time to reveal. The sign that will change Sagittarius's destiny in 2026, the sign that carries all these anchoring forces, the sign the universe specifically chose to make you stop running and finally create roots. This sign is Scorpio, the sign Sagittarius fears, the sign Sagittarius finds too intense, the sign Sagittarius always avoided because it's the complete opposite of everything you value. The sign Sagittarius is about to discover carries exactly what you always needed but never admitted: Scorpio. Yes, Sagittarius. It's them. And before you close this video thinking this will never work, let me explain why it makes all cosmic sense. 2026 is the year of the encounter between fire that flies and water that pulls to the depths. And when I say it will be transformative, it's because you two are the most impossible and most powerful combination that exists. You are free fire that needs to move. They are deep water that needs to dive. You avoid intensity. They are intensity itself. You keep everything light. They transform everything into depth. You run from commitment. They demand absolute loyalty. You philosophize about emotions. They feel with every fiber of their being. But here's the secret few understand. What seems incompatible on the surface is exactly what completes in the depths. And Scorpio carries exactly what you need. Sagittarius, everything you avoided, everything you turned into a joke, everything you philosophized to avoid really feeling. Sagittarius and Scorpio carry a dynamic of challenge and transformation, the most intense in the zodiac, but also the most evolutionary when it truly happens. Whenever these two souls truly cross paths, something rare happens. Sagittarius learns depth, and Scorpio learns lightness. And 2026 creates a powerful astrological configuration. A configuration that favors exactly this seemingly impossible encounter. Sagittarius's freedom aligns with Scorpio's intensity. And this means one very clear thing. Scorpio appears to show you what real commitment is. Scorpio doesn't arrive by chance. They arrive because you're running. Running from depth. Running from commitment. Running from feeling things completely. And they come to force you to stop, whether you want it or not. Now you must be wondering, but why Scorpio? Why precisely the most intense and possessive sign of the zodiac? Because Sagittarius governs expansion, philosophy, movement, optimistic surface, and Scorpio governs exactly the complement of that. Scorpio governs depth, transformation, permanence, raw emotional truth. When these two energies truly collide, three inevitable things happen. First, Sagittarius learns there's beauty in depth. That idea that intensity is prison crumbles. Scorpio teaches you that diving deep isn't drowning. It's discovering riches you never saw on the surface. Second, Scorpio awakens in Sagittarius the capacity for real commitment. You discover you can be free and loyal at the same time. That commitment isn't prison when it's with the right person. Third, both enter a process of mutual balance. It's not just Sagittarius that changes, Scorpio does too. Because this connection adds lightness to their depth and depth to your lightness. And this doesn't matter if the encounter is romantic, professional, or an unexpected intense connection. The impact is the same: transformative, anchoring, paradoxically liberating. Sagittarius, you begin 2026 feeling that restlessness of permanence I mentioned before. As if something is pulling you back. As if all your philosophy of freedom is just protection against commitment. This isn't in your head. It's Scorpio approaching, and the effect begins even before you meet physically. Their energy already starts creating gravity around you. You begin to feel restless with your own superficiality. Start questioning if you're really so free or just fugitive. Feel an inexplicable desire to dive into something deep, and this scares you. Because Sagittarius loves freedom and depth always seemed like prison. Scorpio doesn't arrive to trap you, Sagittarius. They arrive to show you that you can dive without drowning, that you can have depth without losing your free essence, that you can be intense and light at the same time. But the process goes against every instinct you have. Because Scorpio demands what you've always avoided: constant presence, total vulnerability, real commitment. When Scorpio enters Sagittarius's life, they function as a mirror of depth. They show what you hid from yourself for fear of losing freedom, the need for deep connection you suppressed, the desire for loyalty you disguised as independence, the fear of commitment you transformed into philosophy about personal growth, the loneliness you never admitted feeling. Scorpio's energy forces you to recognize that freedom without depth is empty, that you can explore the world but need someone to share the discoveries, that adventures are better when there's someone to return to. And this creates the first major impact of the year. Sagittarius allows themselves to create roots. It's the beginning of anchoring, and it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Now comes the most intense part, the impossible magnetism. What attracts Sagittarius and Scorpio should never work logically. They're fire and water, lightness and intensity, movement and permanence. It's energetic, it's alchemical, it's cosmic. It's a magnetism that defies all logic, like fire that doesn't extinguish in water, but transforms into steam that rises even higher. You look at Scorpio and feel something that completely confuses you. It's not just physical attraction, though that's intense. It's something bigger and scarier. It's as if their soul carries the depth you always denied needing, as if they have the key to a part of you that always pretended not to exist. And when this magnetism emerges in 2026, it comes with a very clear purpose: to anchor Sagittarius, to teach that roots aren't prisons, they're bases to fly higher, to show you can be free and deeply connected at the same time. This encounter brings depth to your philosophical surface, brings commitment to your eternal escape, brings emotional intensity to your constant lightness, brings a home to your eternal journey. But it also brings challenges, because Scorpio demands presence and you need space. Scorpio feels deeply and you prefer to philosophize. Scorpio commits totally and you like to keep options open. It's a meeting of extremes, and either you find balance or you destroy each other trying. Sagittarius, 2026 marks the year you enter a portal of rooting, a passage to a deeper version of yourself. And Scorpio is the guardian of this portal. They open the door with pure intensity, not with philosophy about commitment, with real emotions, not with theories about relationships. If you stay trapped in escape, trying to maintain distance, you suffer. If you allow yourself to dive, you finally complete yourself in a way you never imagined. This is the big choice of the year. This is the decision the universe puts before you. And here's a revelation few know. Sagittarius and Scorpio have a connection called alchemy of transformative opposites. It's not an easy connection. It's an opposition that either elevates both or consumes both, like fire and water creating steam that rises higher than either alone. This connection is challenging and liberating at the same time. It makes you fear losing your freedom, but at the same time a deep desire to finally have something real worth staying for. You fear Scorpio will trap you, but at the same time feel this is exactly the anchor you've always denied needing. This relationship, even if brief, changes Sagittarius's life philosophy forever. And in 2026, this transformative opposite manifests. They arrive and they transform everything. Scorpio teaches Sagittarius lessons no one else could teach. And here are the teachings you absorb during this year. Depth. Scorpio shows you that diving deep isn't prison. It's discovering riches you never saw on the surface. Loyalty. Scorpio teaches you that commitment doesn't limit, it liberates. Because when you commit to the right person, you're freer than ever. Intensity. Scorpio reconnects you with deep emotions. You learn that feeling intensely isn't weakness. It's being truly alive. Permanence. Scorpio shows you not everything needs to be temporary. That building something lasting isn't prison. It's legacy. Transformation. Scorpio takes you through a real metamorphosis. You die to the fugitive version of yourself and are reborn as someone capable of flying with roots. Transformation happens again, but this time not through the next adventure you know so well, This time through depth, through anchoring, through rebirth, through commitment. But attention, Sagittarius. And this is crucial you understand. Not every Scorpio stays. Scorpio appears to anchor you. But this doesn't mean they'll stay forever holding you. In fact, often Scorpio enters your life for a temporary purpose but eternal in impact. The purpose is to show you that you can have roots, and once you learn, they can move on. Sometimes Scorpio stays, sometimes they leave. But always, they leave you more anchored than you were before. And when Sagittarius crosses through 2026 after this encounter, they're not the same anymore. Life changes in three main areas. Depth. Sagittarius develops the ability to dive deep without losing their free essence. Commitment. Sagittarius learns they can be loyal without feeling trapped. That commitment with the right person is liberating. Completeness. Sagittarius discovers they can fly and have roots at the same time. That freedom and depth can coexist. Scorpio doesn't come to limit your horizons. Sagittarius. They come to show you that horizons are more beautiful when you have someone to share them with and a home to return to. And now, Sagittarius, we've reached the end of this revelation. But this isn't an ending. It's a new beginning. 2026 won't be an easy year for you, but it will be the year you finally allow yourself to create roots while keeping your wings. The year you discover that commitment isn't prison. It's conscious choice. If this video touched something you've been avoiding with your philosophies, if you recognize these patterns, if something in your soul stopped while I was speaking, I need you to do something now. Comment below, I choose to stay. This comment isn't just for me. It's for the universe. It's you saying you're ready to stop running and start building. And if you want me to make the video about which sign will change the destiny of Aries, Gemini, Leo, Virgo, or any other sign in 2026, comment also which one you want to see. Leave your like on this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, because this journey of transformation is just beginning. And always remember, Sagittarius, true freedom isn't in never stopping. It's in choosing to stay when it's worth it. And Scorpio. Scorpio was sent to show you what's worth staying for.